Welcome, everybody, to the morning drive. I have Dewayne along with me and John Pinney. They're going to be starting our new show. Welcome to the morning drive. My name is Jay. I did that all wrong. Now, and you're
Dewayne Long. And I'm John Pinney.
John Pinney. Well, welcome. And we play a little bit of this song here, and there's a whole thing that we do a certain way to start the show because it takes a few minutes for everybody to come in, and I'm going to share this actually on my YouTube and that's the cue. There we go. So welcome to the morning drive, gentlemen, and you are starting a new show, right? You're going to be starting a show. What day is that show going to be on?
It'll be on Tuesday, June the 22nd will be the start date at 10 o'clock.
At 10 o'clock on Tuesday?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you're right after the learning curve.
Correct.
Yeah.
We're behind the learning curve.
We're behind it, quite a bit, especially a Cub fan. You know, being a Cub fan, he's really behind the learning curve.
Oh, yeah, the New York Cubs.
Yeah, the New York Cubs.
Yeah. Yep, the New York Cubs from Tennessee, right?
Yeah.
See, I told you there's going to be a few. This takes a minute for me to do, and usually I have Matt to banter with because we've known each other for quite a while. I've known him since he was about, 4 or 5 years old.
Wow. Well, we have known each other for about 55 years. Started together, met each other at the Boys and Girls Club, which was then just the Boys Club.
Right. Was that in Ohio?
No, that was here in Springfield, Missouri.
Springfield, Missouri.
Then we went out we joined the same baseball team, went out to eat one day at a Tasty Freeze, and we became best friends.
And how old were you then?
13, 14, and we were playing Kiwanis baseball back in the day.
Now, where did you meet again? Where was this?
We met at the Boys and Girls, the Boys Club on Boonville. That's where we met.
Boonville, so here in Springfield.
Yes, sir.
And this is where you guys grew up.
Oh yes, we spent probably 6 days a week there.
Did you really?
We both lived on the north side of town, but we had a choice. We could catch a bus and ride for 15 cents all the way to the Boys Club, basically.
Really?
Or we could walk it. It was about 2.5 miles and spend the 15 cents on popcorn.
And so that's exactly what we did. We walked a lot,
Oh, yeah.
What was it like growing up in Springfield back then and with your parents? Of course, parents can kind of change your experience of Springfield while you're growing up.
Well, we had some great parents. Now, my mother died when I was 9 years old, and so I lived with my dad. And but we had some great time together. And of course, one of the great things was going to the club every day is having the opportunity to be with your friends and grow relationships like John and I have had the pleasure of doing for the last 55 years.
Good.
And I was born in the Chicago area.
Oh,
and
that explains a lot, Jay.
It really does with the Cubs hat there.
And went
What
to
is
school.
that? What is that animal? Is that a dinosaur? It looks like a T-Rex.
Yeah, because it's mean. It's a mean cub.
It's a T-Rex cub.
I don't know about
How
that.
long did you grow up in Chicago?
Till I was, I think I was 8 years old. We moved here.
Yeah.
And
any memories of Chicago before?
Oh, I loved Chicago. I remember how big it was and how how big the buildings were and stuff, And they had a store called Goblat's, which was like one of the first department stores, and it had everything. I mean, from clothes to animals, and I mean, it was great.
Ever any memories of acting up in the store and having mom grab you by the ear?
Oh, that was more in Springfield when I got a little
when you got a little
my grandma would actually grab other people's kids.
No, he was the perfect child, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. He's a rough character. And so what was it like changing from Chicago to Springfield?
When it got cold here in the winter, people go, "Oh, it's so cold." I go, "It's not cold.
Try lake effect
I'm from
cold.
Chicago, man.
Right.
The wind blows so cold you can't believe it and everything." So, I went to school in the springtime. We started playing softball during recess.
Remember talking to your mic.
So we were talking baseball during recess, and we would all yell at our favorite players. I'm Ken Boyer. I'm Bob Gibson. I'm this Cardinal. I'm that Cardinal. I go, I'm Ernie Banks. And they go, Ernie Banks.
Who's Ernie Banks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it
A
was
football
fun.
player, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Great. And
That's a good question.
so we had a great time. I loved Springfield from the first. Went to Robertson Grade School for half a year and just had a ball.
Yeah.
Now, you would have think being from Springfield, I'd have been a St. Louis Cardinal fan, but I was actually a Yankee fan growing up as a kid. Of course, there was a lot of Yankee fans.
You saw that a lot on TV.
Oh,
Yankees, Boston.
Yeah, and I was always when we would play wiffle ball or some other game, baseball game, I'd always be, the Mickey Mantle or the Roger Maris hitting those long home runs.
And see, that's where I'm from. I'm from the Northeast, Massachusetts.
Oh, yeah.
That explains
So
a lot also.
So they were always in the World Series. I mean, there was never anybody else there, so I didn't even know there was like a whole list of teams that joined it. And so I would watch the World Series with my dad. The extent of my experience in professional sports. And we had the what was that football team from the Northeast?
Yeah.
New England Patriots. And they were a nomad team.
Right.
So we didn't really know anything about them. They didn't mean much, so that was my experience in sports.
To me.
Now I liked playing sports.
Oh, I love.
And it didn't even have to be sports. I would like to play Cowboys and Indians, running around, getting rough, climbing trees, falling out of trees.
Well, Dewayne and I's show is called It's Your Call.
It's your call.
Yeah.
It's your call. So you
No,
call.
it's your call.
We're going to do this again? Half an hour in the car. Come on over here. It's your call. No, John, it's your call. So,
It's your call.
But we it's about sports. It's going to be about sports. But we'll take any kind of answers or questions. We'll answer them. And we're both big, huge sports fans. And probably we were up in St. Louis, I think it was 2 years ago. And we were sitting behind 4 old men, aged men. I mean, they were in their early 80s probably. And I had my Cubs hat on, and I was yelling for the Cubs because the Cubs were winning, and we were winning. And the guy turned back around me and he goes, "Yell for the Cubs, why don't you? Because they haven't won anything over 100 years." And I said, "Yeah, Grandpa, and you were at some of those games, weren't you?" And the people just cracked up laughing. It was a lot of fun.
Well, now, it's curious. You guys are into sports, but why the Boys and Girls Club? Is you grew up benefiting from it, and you wanted to give back to it? Is that what happened, or how did you get involved with that?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things is when I was going to the club and I got involved with boxing, John's a former professional boxer, so I got involved with boxing also for a little short time, and we'll talk about that on the show. But yeah, the club was just a special place because of the friendships you developed, and so it got you involved also in team sports. We played on a team together with the club. We did a lot of things together at the club. And so, but as time went by, the club became a big part of my life. And in fact, I used to tell people that I bleed red, white, and blue Boys and Girls Club blood. So we actually had a great time, and it became such a big part of my life that I wanted to make a career in the club. And I got the opportunity to work at the club here in Springfield. I was the director of a club in Pontiac, Illinois, and also I was the director in Manhattan, Kansas for a short while, and came back to Missouri once my in-laws became ill. But the club has always been a part. Now we're a part of the Alumni Association. We continue to do good things for the club and volunteer time.
Kids can be difficult. Was your role in actually directly interacting with the kids, or was it more administrative?
Well, both, because as I said, I had several different jobs during the course of my years.
You were a
as team.
referee.
I refereed basketball and umpired baseball, as John did as well. And but the funny thing about the club was we always, in my leadership position, I always felt like the club was not a privilege. It was an opportunity. They weren't entitled to being a club member. You actually had to really believe and earn to come to the club. You had to be respectful of the staff, respectful of the facility, and by which you then would earn your right to come to the club.
And also, we had a perfect father figure in a man named Bill Henderson. We had fathers. We loved our fathers. But this guy, Bill Henderson, was a really special man. And he ran the boys club for years and years and years. And he was great. And we both won scholarships to college, SMS. Oh, so we got scholarships from the boys club and the women's auxiliary of the boys club.
Right.
Well,
And,
I do have another question about that. But before we go do that, I'm going to come. We'll be right back after this.
Enter the talent contest at Axe Fest. $10 entry, $50 to winner. Axe Media Group.
Your sandwich was so limited.
Your sandwich had a lot of butt.
One. We're back. I'm wondering, once you saw a father figure there at youth, and did you realize the importance of that and the way it affected you, and then that how you could transfer that into like the kids? Were there heartbreaking stories, things that really made you realize something was important about this place?
we would see kids that were beat up a little bit sometimes, and it was the parents, and things like that, and it was hard, as we didn't have any official. Our
Authority.
job was we were running the wiffle ball games at the boys club, or in the summertime we were open from 9 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon, and we played something every minute of the day, and it was awesome. And we had kids coming in there, and we taught many a kid to play baseball by playing wiffle ball, and we taught them how to play baseball. And they come up to Dewayne especially. We get a McDonald's or someplace, and people come up and go, "Are you Dewayne Long? And are you John Pinney?" And yeah, that's us, And, we were boys club kids, man. As we sit down, and it's been one of the joys of my life. And I went into something other than boys and girls club work, but Dewayne stuck with it, and his brother's also works for the boys club organization.
Yeah.
So it's great.
Now, professional sports, you were a boxer. Were you anything else? Like, did you do any other professional sports?
No,
Or
I
semi-pro?
was lucky I got to do that.
Really?
No, I was a good fighter. I had 42 professional fights and lost 5.
Wow.
So
Oh,
I was
my.
a good fighter. I was not a
What weight class?
middleweight 160.
Whoa.
I ate my last opponent.
Those
so.
days have passed.
That's a rough, and middleweights.
Oh, they're very tough.
Yeah, because you get hit a lot. They don't knock out quite as easy.
Right, and they hit hard.
You go in the how many
rounds?
rounds did you do?
I fought 12 rounds. I was a Southern middleweight champion for 2 years, and
What's your most memorable fight that went 12 rounds?
a guy named Dennis Riggs. He was the champion before me, and I beat him in 12 rounds. I had gone 10 before a couple times, but never 12. And that last round, I thought I was just so tired, and I said on my stool in the corner, my manager said, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I said, "Nobody's going to knock me out in 3 minutes." So I danced around and moved and tied him up, and then I beat him. I would throw punches and run around a little bit, move around, and it was fun.
That's brutal. I've been in some street fights, and 2 minutes is a very long street fight.
Exactly.
Very long, and in 2 minutes, both people are brutally injured. You have to go to the hospital at the end of that.
Yeah.
And so I can't imagine doing 12 3-minute rounds.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's brutal. What kind of long-term injury do you get from something like that?
What? No.
Yeah.
No.
Well
I
said.
have a little
Well said.
I have a little CTE. I have trouble remembering some things that my wife tells me 20 seconds before.
Right.
But and I'm glad I got CTE because now my wife can't blame me for anything.
But you can remember what everybody else says, just not her, right?
And I can remember.
But I don't. I have that problem too, and I never blocked professionally.
Right.
But you got knocked down in the boxing match.
Well,
That's
that's
tough,
all.
man. Oh,
Dewayne had the fastest knockout of all time with the Springfield Boys Club. He
About
knocked
20
the guy
seconds.
out.
Really?
He knocked the kid out in 20 seconds. So he didn't
Wow.
knock him out, but the guy quit.
I was like 5'11", weighed 118 pounds.
Yeah.
And this guy was about 5'2" and weighed probably about 118 pounds.
And
I couldn't punch him. I couldn't punch.
He was too
He was
low.
too short. So
Right.
all I could do with these little bolo punches, just up and down, up and down, up and down. And
To him, it was like a jab.
oh,
his
pretty bad.
manager threw in the towel. That'd be a good name for a show too. Sometime throw in the towel.
Yeah, that really would.
Yeah.
That'll be our next sports show.
Yeah, that would be a.
Or it could be a catchphrase you use to end the show.
That'd be great.
That's great. Throw in
Yeah.
the towel.
We could bring in
It's
a towel.
It's
Yeah.
time to throw in the towel.
There you go.
Oh, I
And
like
until
that.
next
Man,
week.
thank you, buddy.
Yeah.
I got to fight in Paris. I got to fight in New York City, Madison Square Garden.
What'd you think of Paris?
I thought France was beautiful.
You got to see it a little bit.
I got to see a lot of it, and I worked for the Army, which is a way to make money. You don't join the Army,
Right.
but if you work for the Army, they pay you pretty good. So I went over there. I worked for the Army. I worked with school kids. They do the Boys and Girls Clubs experience I'd had, so they brought me over there, and I worked with American school kids. We went all over Europe doing comedy shows. And I had these kids, and they were very funny. And we would do shows for the officers' wives, the officers, the whole bunch of people at a certain church. And it was a lot of fun. And Europe is beautiful.
Yeah. I've never been.
You never
I've
been to
hardly
Europe?
been.
You should bring your bike to Europe.
I would
ride
love
your
to.
bike, man.
I would love to. Oh
They
my
have a-
goodness, I would love to do that.
That bike, you'd be the man.
Would I?
You'd
Yeah.
be the man.
Yeah, I'm afraid my personality doesn't usually get it. When most people try to get away from me as quick as possible, I'm asking all these questions, and then I'm trying to relate myself to what people are saying and interrupting them and talking too much. That's why I'm a good talk show host. It's hard to get out of here.
Oh, I bet. You got a great voice, though. I mean, when I was doing stand-up comedy on the road, they called it on the road because we were traveling a new club every week, at least one, sometimes 4 different clubs in a week. But they would have us do radio shows in the morning, and it was tiring because we had to get up at 6 o'clock, 6:30 to make the morning show, so we could advertise the comedy club.
You want everybody in their car to say, "Oh, I got to go to this."
Yeah, that's right. And then we had these guys that go, be wacky, be crazy, be real funny, but be wacky. We need to build our ratings up, And I'd say something and go, that's not really funny. I go, but it's wacky.
Yeah, it is wacky. What about so tomorrow's your first show?
No.
Oh, no. Next week.
Next Tuesday.
Next
Sorry,
Tuesday.
This has been driving me nuts this whole time.
I thought so. It has me too, but
Oh, that's where I go.
we could hear him well. So
Now I can hear me.
Sorry,
this is Matt Pearson. You guys are acquainted
we're
with him.
acquainted with him.
I'm using-
Matt is the creator of It's Your Call. That was his name he came up with.
I think actually we all came up with that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna fix this a little bit too. There you go.
Okay.
Thank
There
you,
go.
Matt.
Now everybody can probably hear you.
I'm afraid to touch them because they always break. Every time I touch
Oh,
one of these, it's
Please
like,
don't say it breaks.
Oh,
We're-
break, yeah,
I'm
that's
one-
not a good
I'm one
thing.
of those
There's
things.
30 got 2 minutes.
$30 mics. We could probably buy some new ones.
That's not a good word to say around kids who grew up in the boys' club.
right?
Right.
Why is that?
You're talking about $30 mics. One time I got hired through a private party.
Uh-huh.
And I said, well, I need a microphone. They said, what do you need? I said, a microphone, a mic stand. They made a mic stand out of a broomstick.
Oh my.
And the mic was one of those little plastic mics that goes to a tape player.
Oh really?
And I looked at that and I go, that little mic? And she goes, oh, yeah, it'll be fine. Oh, I really had a bad show. It was just, they didn't even understand me, And
If you don't have the right equipment,
Yeah.
you can't do as good a job as you like to do.
And this
Yeah.
is a great equipment here. This is fine. And I
You
I
have to
always
start
liked
with the
green wall.
content, though. All of this is nothing without the content and the commitment. You know
Right.
what I mean? As you know, success in anything is showing up.
Right.
And
Right.
you're not going to start off showing up being the best that ever lived. And though there are those who have, and that's what you hope for,
Mhm.
that's not usually the case. You have to work hard, keep showing up when nobody else believes in you or what you're doing or thinks it's even going to succeed. You just have to show up because what you think, what you're doing to you means something and is important.
And that's
And so-
exactly why we want to do this show, because sports is such a big part of everybody's life.
Yeah,
I mean, everybody
does. A
enjoys
lot of
sport
people.
except our wives. Our wives are not big sports fans.
That was in the vows, though. We will not watch any baseball show on television.
It might have been in your vows. It wasn't in my vows.
Right.
It was in your
It
vows.
should be, shouldn't it?
But to give you an idea, my wife and I were watching a baseball game on TV, and she doesn't watch a whole lot of baseball. So the Cardinals hit a home run, and the guy comes around, he touches home base. And my wife says, "Oh, he scored a point." It's not a run. I told her it's not a point, it's a run. So
Although
would've
there is a
said that,
point
though.
rewarded.
On my first date,
Now
took my
I'm
wife-
sorry.
Oh,
Before we
sure,
start,
hey.
I better go to this next commercial,
Go for it.
and we will be right back. One.
Well,
We're
on my first date, I take my wife to a pizza place, and we're talking and we're trying to find out about each other. And I said, I want you to understand something. I love sports. I live for competition, and I love sports. She goes, I like sports if I can watch them live. I don't like watching them on television so much. That warning, beep, 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 beep. I knew. And she goes, there's some sports I really hate, though. And I go, give me a sport you hate. She goes, boxing. And I go, well, I was a professional boxer. She goes, well, we can end this right now or keep going.
Was it awkward? Was there an awkward moment?
There was a very awkward moment because right about then the pizza comes, of course, and it was.
Dennis is saying I have a face for radio.
I think it's quite good for radio.
Actually, no.
Sorry, but now you were saying
Radio
that-
now is always videoed, so that means something different today there, Dennis.
Yeah, Dennis. So I'm sorry, you were saying, and I didn't mean to interrupt.
No.
I think you're quite attractive.
And we do have actually some comments that we might catch up on a little bit.
I will be, since I'm here, I'm usually the one that keeps up with the comments,
Mhm.
and we'll try to set up a tablet for you guys or something so you guys can see the comments, because I think you guys are going to get some squirrely folks.
Yeah.
we
that-
are squirrely.
Yeah,
folks.
Yes,
you're gonna have-
exactly.
Well, and with sports, you're going to have some aggressive, probably.
The only sport that we really don't know very well is soccer. And I'm not against soccer. I just don't understand. I understand the game, but I'm not a huge fan. But we're going to bring some people on with us sometime to explain soccer to us.
Oh, yeah, that'll
See
be
what
fun.
happens, but American sports we know very well.
And then you'll be able to ask, so he made a run, right? And they'll be like,
Yeah,
well,
my wife will be
he
doing
was
that.
running. No, but you were saying that you were on your first date trying to get to know each other at a pizza place. The sirens went off when she said, I don't like watching them on TV.
Right.
And so,
Exactly. Well, and
so how did this happen then? She must have just looked you in the eye and said, you're mine.
no.
No,
Now she was a very nice girl, really nice. Her parents, I'm 10 years older than her, and her parents.
Look at
we're
the look on
talking-
his face.
you cradle robber, you.
I'm talking to my in-law, though the people that were going to be my in-laws. We're talking, and her mom goes, "Mr. Pinney, how old are you?" And I said, "Well, I graduated high school in 1970." She goes, "Seriously, how old are you?" And I go, "Well, I'm 10 years older than your daughter." And I said, "But we get along really well, and we really have fun." And I was in a comedy team called I can't even remember the name of the comedy team. It was so long ago, but it was a lot of fun. And she'd seen us 2 or 3 times and started coming in. And I wanted to be a comedy writer, so ever since I saw Dick Van Dyke's show,
Oh, that was
I
fantastic.
wanted to be a
Yeah.
comedy writer. That's what I wanted to be.
Yeah, because he was hilarious.
Then I went out to LA, and boy, it's nothing like Dick Van Dyke.
Clever, too.
Oh, I got stuff stolen so many times.
Did you?
Oh, I had stuff end up on Roseanne.
How long
show
after that were
'cause-
you hitched?
Was I a hit?
After your date?
Oh, we got married on roller skates.
Did you really?
Yeah, a friend of ours was a roller skating guy, and he was my best man. He got us to do it at a roller rink out on Campbell, I think, at the time. Or
Yeah, Skateland at the time.
that was it. And I could not skate. My wife could skate a little bit. I could not skate. So we're up there at the altar, which was a fake altar, but we had an altar, and the man was saying the wedding vows. And I didn't know that the little round things on the front of the skates were brakes. Well, inertia comes in. I start rolling forward.
Oh, no.
And my wife grabs the back of my tux and pulls me back.
That must have been so cute. Is it on video?
No, we never
That's
got
too bad.
We could have put that on that funniest home videos.
Oh,
or
yeah.
something,
Well, that would be a hit on YouTube,
The
too.
thing is, I was surprised that she was pulling him back.
And
I
that's
thought
right,
she
you were
might
there.
just push him
Right,
on
yeah.
right out the door and, just down a hill. That
I'd
might
have
have
to
been
say
the appropriate place for
The
it.
funniest groom topper, a cake topper at a wedding that I've seen. And we do got to look at the camera more because
Yeah.
our
Oh,
people want to
sorry.
see you. It was a groom being drugged by the bride. Like he's in his tuxedo and she's pulling him by his collar, dragging him, and he's like,
Well, that's better than
Like
having
roadkill?
that's better than having the father behind him on the
With
gun.
the
With a
shotgun, yeah.
yeah, those actually happened.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, it was a shotgun
wedding.
wedding
It was a real thing, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
where if somebody got their daughter pregnant back then,
They were hit.
if they'd lost their innocence, so to speak, they wouldn't really
They
be
were required to marry.
yes, because
required.
it was harder for a woman to find a husband if she wasn't a virgin anymore. So the father would make sure that his daughter was taken care of.
Yeah.
And it was like that, like even in the scriptures and stuff, or in the Middle East back in the day, if a woman was
in the West.
and it's a horrible thing. If a woman was raped, the rapist would be required to marry her, because back then, if a woman had lost her virginity, she could not find a husband,
Right.
and she wouldn't be taken care of. So the rapist would have to marry her.
Boy, times have changed.
Boy, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what about you? You've got a wife,
Sorry.
too.
No,
How did
Yes,
you
I
guys
do
meet?
have a wife.
How did you guys
It
meet?
was
Shotgun, wasn't
Our
it?
It was
condolences
it was
to
a
her.
hand-picked wedding. No,
Yeah, that's an interesting
No,
sport.
actually-
Once the shotgun comes out, you got a sport there.
You made the draft. Look at that.
actually, with my wife, it's a little different because I
First
knew
round?
her mother. I knew her mother before I knew her, because she never. Her mom and her brother played basketball at the club, and so
Her
at the
mom
boys-
played
boys
basketball at the club?
No, not her mom.
Well, you said her mom and
Yeah,
her
you did.
brother.
They played. They
Her
were on the same
brother-
team.
Her brother played basketball at the club, and so the mother would come
Can you
and watch
imagine
the
that?
basketball game.
Mom, that was a foul.
Yeah.
But when that would happen,
Oh,
I would actually. She would come to me after a game and say, "Listen, you're cheating. You're cheating. You didn't call that foul right." And I said, "No, ma'am. I called the game like I
Her
see it and
mother?
all that." Her mother.
Okay, so
Yeah.
starting right out of the gate, great. Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I actually ended up. Her sister introduced us, and went to. I went to pick her up our first date. We went and saw a sports-related program called The Good News Bears. It was a great movie at that time. So, but
Still
we
is,
went
to this
home.
day.
I went to pick her up. I would not get out of the car because I knew her mother. And
boy.
so I honked the horn once. I honked the horn twice. Nobody came out. So I had to get up, go to the door, knock on the door. Her mother answers the door.
Oh,
full
no.
of dread.
And
That's so funny.
it has me come in the house. Her dad takes me to the back room and shows me his gun collection,
Yeah.
which is
That's a classic.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
how it went for me, too.
so. But
They were cleaning them on the kitchen table, though.
they were. That's good.
Yeah.
I would have just walked right back out if I'd seen guns on the table.
Right.
But anyway, we ended up going out. After it was over, I said, I'm never going to see that woman again.
And a small correction, because I don't want people to go out and look for this movie. I think it was the Bad News Bears.
Oh, Bad News Bear.
Not
Yeah.
good, not
Yeah,
good
yeah.
News Bears.
Well, you're right about that.
You said make little corrections. We talked about this.
Well, that's
So you
right.
said
We
make
did.
little
Well, I'm
corrections.
glad you said that. Because
Yeah, I bet you're really glad.
the Bad News Bear.
And how
Yeah.
soon after that were you guys married?
We were actually married about a year later.
A year later.
Yeah, we had decided. Well, once we dated one time, we said we weren't going to. I wasn't going to see her. Her brother ended up playing a basketball game in Rogersville, and I was down there to watch the officials. And I walked into the building, and I see this man up in the stand waving his hands, and it turned out to be her dad.
Oh yeah.
And her dad was waving me to come up there.
Yeah.
So I went and sat with her family. We started going out again, and probably 6 months later, we decided to get married.
Very nice.
Yeah.
That is
And
nice.
at the wedding, I was the best man.
Oh yes, he was.
And
No, I was the best man. He was the
yeah,
right.
well,
Second best man.
so
absolute.
and as I'll take that role, but
You guys were at each
Dewayne-
other's wedding. That's cool.
Dwayne's mother-in-law yelled at me for a second to sit down, and I sit down immediately on a hot
Coffee
coffee
pot.
pot.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she was a serious woman, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
She said,
You think she was?
Oh,
she's
we
gotta
serious.
go to
a
She's
commercial.
She's a serious.
Pardon me, and we will be right back
okay.
after these messages. Thank you. And we're back with John Pinney and Dwayne Long.
Yes.
Sorry.
so Dwayne got married, and I was going to be the best man, and his mother-in-law met me, and she goes, "He cannot be the best man.
Oh no.
He walks too cocky."
And John does have a little bit of a strut,
No.
especially
What?
he was a big important boxer.
Not-
So he had a
Right.
little
Oh,
strut.
so you were a boxer at this time?
Oh,
of
yeah,
pro?
yeah.
So 40 fights. That's how long? How many years?
9 years altogether.
9
but
years
I only
of
fought
fighting.
like 9 years. See, that's exactly right. It's not the fights; it's the training. You
Yeah.
train for a month and a half for one fight, 2 months, and the problem is you get hit in the gym, and even with the headgear and the big gloves, it still causes a problems.
Yeah.
And I was always lucky I didn't have I got into Sports Hall of Fame here in Springfield, and during my
What an honor, huh?
it was one of the best moments of my life. But the induction, I did a Sylvester Stallone Rocky impersonation, and I nailed it pretty well. But I knew so many people that talked like that in boxing, so I quit. I lost a fight that I think I really got cheated at really badly, and I got beat up really badly.
And that sets it up for another one.
And I just said, I'm done. And I just moved away. I was fighting in Tampa, Florida.
Because that's part of the drama of fighting, right?
Right.
Is when people, and sports, is when people feel like there's a bad call or a cheat or something like that. Well, now you got a rematch or a grudge match.
Right.
Or what are the other terms they use for that? Like in football teams, when you got two football teams just hate each other.
Well, people like Ali and Frazier, at first they were just playing around. And then Joe Frazier started getting really mad at Ali, and really upset because Ali was saying things,
Yeah.
and Joe couldn't take it.
Out of line.
And so I've been around boxing most of my life. We intend for our show, we're going to bring in some stars from Springfield, baseball, football, basketball, tennis, and we play pickleball.
So you're going to have guests on your show.
Yeah, if we can,
you know,
yeah. And we've already talked to some people, and
How often do you think aggression plays a part in sports?
in all sports.
Is it so common? It's a regular expression. Is aggression and
Well, I think there's two things you're referring to. Probably the player themselves being aggressive, but when we're talking about kids sports, sometimes it is the parent.
I'm talking emotional aggression, not aggression as far as going in and getting after it, but I mean the emotion of aggression.
Oh,
Is
get
that
the
a
passion.
common?
It's really
Yeah.
the passion you have for the game.
All right.
That's a lot of what, John had a lot of passion for boxing. He was a boxer. He loved working out, because I spent about 30 days, a month, something like that, down with him in Tampa, watching him train for professional fights.
Right.
And so you could see the passion that he had for the sport.
But what happened was, when I moved from here to Tampa, I had a coach here that was a nice man, always there at the gym at the boys club, but not technically a really good boxing coach. I moved to Tampa. I had a manager that had 6 world champions, a trainer had 6 world champions, and I learned so much in those months. The first months, I become a far, far better boxer. And I had a unique style. I was short, but I was very fast and very quick. And I won my 22 tournaments between 4 states, Oklahoma, Missouri, Kansas. And then I traveled for the National Golden Gloves, and that was a lot. It was just the first
He was
play.
Golden Gloves.
Were you fought the Golden Gloves?
Yeah, second Norwegian, Greater Kansas City Gold Gloves.
I won KC Golden Gloves twice.
95, 94, 95.
What weight class were you?
I started super heavyweight.
Okay.
I was just
Good
a couple
for
pounds
you.
over the super heavyweight. And,
Well,
and then I got down to regular heavyweight. And then I went back up to super heavyweight. I lost my first bout was not Greater Kansas City. It was here in Missouri, because I boxed for Sertama
Okay.
Boxing Club. BJ Flores was a friend of mine.
yeah.
He was one of the first people I sparred with when I first started boxing. Looking at it now, I know he went very, very easy on me, and he didn't hit me. He wasn't hitting me very hard, and because he could hit hard. I've seen him knock somebody out in like 30 seconds back in the day. It was. I dropped down to regular heavyweight, because in super heavyweight, the weight difference between people is huge.
Right.
Like, you got
Potential for real injury.
There's this guy that he was a monster. He was a giant. He was probably about 300 pounds and about 6'4". And here I am. I'm still growing. I'm not even 6 foot yet. I watched this guy box. Though he was slower than me, when he hit really hard. Mm-hmm. Well, I didn't fight him, because I got down to regular heavyweight. I fought a guy, and he rung my bell enough that I didn't really understand what I was saying. I thought I heard the ref say, "Can you still go?" And what he said was, it was something like, "Are you done?" or something like that. And I nodded my head, and then he threw the fight. I mean, I was out of it. And everybody remembers the first guy that they lose to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I still remember his name to this day.
Mine too.
Because I went back to Greater Kansas City and gave him a run for his money. And by the time we were both all messed up. He won by points, but none of us got knocked out or anything. And it was hard.
I fought in Paris, France. I got knocked down, and I'm on the floor, and I open my eyes, and this referee's going, "Toi, toi." Keith's not going.
You don't know the count.
Oh my God, where am I at? Dear Lord, please, now's the time to help me.
Yeah. And they say ring your bell, because when they hit you hard enough, your ears start ringing. And it's almost like, to me, it was almost like having, your head in a bell and somebody ringing it. But it was.
John, he had 45 fights.
42 professional.
42 professional fights. I only had 6 fights.
Yeah.
Because I was smarter than John.
Yeah.
I got out of the ring.
But like I said, Dewayne scored the fastest knockout in Springfield boxing history. It was just incredible. I felt bad for the coach that coached this kid was a really short professional fighter named Clarence McMahon. And he was a real tough guy. And the boy that's going to fight Dewayne was like maybe 5'2", 5'3", and Dewayne was almost 6 foot tall at the time. And the kid was going, "Coach, this guy's too big for me." And Clarence goes, "Oh, don't worry about it. Where's he at?" And he says, "Right there." And he goes, "No way."
Now, I'm sorry, gentlemen, we are really out of time, and I just wanted to
Oh.
close this with some music. But I wondered, was there anything that you didn't get to say that you wanted to, and how can you get people to watch your show next
We
week?
could always bring them on over to the next show if we want.
What we want to do is, we
Yeah.
want to be informative, fun, opinion, share our opinion. We want to promote the local athlete and programs, and just share about the trends that are happening in sports today.
Yeah, you guys gonna fight a little bit too about sports?
Oh, we do that all the time anyway.
Well, he's a
so,
Cub fan. I have to.
Do we need to have some gloves on the
Cardinal.
shelf for the show? or
oh,
what?
I'd love that.
Yeah.
You please.
Can I choose the gloves?
All right, and we thank you all for joining the morning drive.
It's going to be fun. Thank you all for
Looking
joining
forward
us.
to
I'm
it.
sorry I was late. Appreciate you guys.
No.
If you guys feel so inclined, you can hang around for the next show, which is called The Learning Curve. It's where we play with technology. But we can also make this like a part 2 to your deal. We could also bring Dennis Everson on the line.
Yeah, and I noticed you have this.
I gotta go. I'm sorry. I gotta go now. But
Well, God bless you guys.
hey,
And
we'll be here next week. 8:00. Our show's at 8:00.
No,
Nine.
it's at 10 o'clock.
It's at 10.
it's at 10 o'clock. You're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
It's at
10 o'clock to 11.
Glad we got that figured out.
Well, that's good.
Johnny was supposed to be here today to operate everything on that and run the show. That was going to be our learning curve today, but apparently I don't think he's going to be here. So,
I think it's time for us to throw in the towel.
all right. Well, I'd like to
Put on
thank
the
you guys
schedule.
for joining us on the morning drive today. We'll be
Your
back
call.
on tomorrow. Same time, same channel. Be sure and tune in next for the learning
It's your
curve.
call.
No, it's your call.
It's your
Your
call.
call.
I'm gonna throw the talent on you.
So we'll see you guys later. God bless you and keep you. Love you. My name is Matt.
My name is Jay.
Matt and Jay, thank you guys. John Pinney,
Dwayne Long.
And until then, well, this has been the morning
Morning
drive.
Drive.
That was a little bit unpractical.